This is Kyle Shanahan drops another one-liner. I am not God. Oh, that's gonna be funny. I can't wait to hear that. What the context of that is. So let's check.
All right. Injuries for practice today. Banks concussion, will not practice. Trent Williams ankle, no practice. Jordan Mason ankle, no practice. Bosa hip oblique, no practice. Flanagan fouls knee.
I thought Jordan Mason was on IR. Boy, he's gonna go on IR. Interesting.
No practice. Demo knee limited. Greenlaw Achilles limited. Huff wrist limited. Everyone else good.
The prognosis on Jordan Mason improved since he's on IR.
No, he most likely will later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Answer my question.
They're going to practice with as far as his wrist.
He's got some stuff covering it up. Club similar, like I think it's similar to Jimmy Ward's. Haven't seen it yet, but it'll be similar to that.
And as far as Greenlaw, you noted last week that you got a quick turnaround after this Bears game. Does that make the Rams game the more realistic game that he could play in?
Yeah, I think it does. More likely. I mean, we haven't decided fully yet, but we'll see how this week goes. But most likely Rams, hopefully.
Okay. What kind of growth have you seen from Isaac Guerrero this year, and what's kind of his state of readiness for an expanded role?
I think he's ready to go. I mean, we were excited about, he got off to a late start with injuries in preseason. I thought he finished in those games well, especially that kick return, he had versus the Raiders, I think. Did some decent things when he started out. Didn't get a lot of carries, had some ups and downs, but got better through everything. And then when he got the bulk of the carries, I want to say some more versus Seattle. He only got better, and he's got better throughout the year. So I think he's ready for this.
Are there specific things that you've seen from him? That is it just maybe getting the reps or getting the snaps?
I think just the urgency of running the ball in the NFL. I mean, I think it takes guys some time. You start to get a feel for it. The more, if you got the right stuff, the more you get reps, the more you can adjust to it, how hard you got to hit stuff, how quick those holes close, how when there is a hole, how you have to hit at full speed and can't hesitate at all, or it closes like that. So we've seen that stuff get better in practice, and we've seen it carry over to games.
Background includes.
I'm actually really excited about the Isaac Guerrero show. I know this season's like shit and everything's just going bad and it's just constantly bad news. We're going to hear about Kevin Givens going to IR. I don't know if he said that already, but like there is some things that are fun to look forward to, such as like watching some of these rookies go out there and perform. Isaac Guerrero is going to go out there and play. We're going to see a bulk of carries from him. Patrick Taylor's been called up. We got a new running back, Israel Abanikanda. I'm butchering his name. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. But yeah, I'm super excited about Isaac Guerrero getting both the bulk of the carry, especially as a rookie. And he's supposed to take the place of probably Jordan Mason next year, if not next year after that. Elijah Mitchell should be coming back. So these are very, very, very important reps for Isaac Guerrero. And there's a blessing here in disguise with all this bad shit that's happening. Like, he needs these reps, like Kyle Shanahan says. The more reps you got, the more repetition, the more you'll be able to see those holes. So the game slows down for you, as we all know. And yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about this new running back that we picked up, Israel Abanikanda. I mean, he's got potential out there. I mean, I think he was first in athleticism coming out of the draft. He had a 4.41 40-yard dash at his pro day, and then had a 4.27 40-yard dash at his pro day as well. So usually take about 5 seconds, like 0.5 seconds away from that. So he probably had about 4.3 to a 4.4 ish speed, which is fantastic because Kyle Shanahan loves those running backs. We love those running backs. He knows how to use those, and he looks promising. He looked really great in college. I'm really excited about that. He didn't do very well at the Jets. If you look at his stats, I think it was 3.2 yards a carry, 70 yards after 22 carries. It was not too good over there, but we all know what Kyle Shanahan can do with some nobody running backs or some running backs with some potential. I mean, this could be another gem because we also have this guy for years and years to come. Sorry, years. We have this guy for a couple more years. We have him next year and then in 2026. So we pick up his rookie contract with that waiver wire pull. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about to see what this run game can do. Obviously, we're not have Trent Williams. We're not going to have Nick Bosa. Pretty sure against the Bears. So I'm looking forward to seeing those rookies. And then all the rest of the rookies, I'm pretty sure the rookies are a lot more rookies and get more reps, such as Pearsall, maybe even Cowing as well, because I don't think Kyle's giving up on this year, but based on what I'm hearing and based on how it sounds to me like he understands that he's probably not going to make the playoffs. So I might as well get all these rookies who are looking like studs more reps so the game slows down for them and we could truly whip out their potential next year. So these are crucial plays. These are crucial downs for every single rookie this year, especially second-year players as well. So I'm excited. I can't wait for Isaac Guerrero to go out there. We all know he has a clutch trait. We all know he has potential. So, I mean, I still see some rawness in him. Like sometimes he'll make a wrong read or he'll run right into a guy or whatever. But he's a rookie, right? And he's raw. And if he can master that clutch trait with his speed and athleticism, especially his size at 230, 6 foot, amazing running back. I'm looking forward to it. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely thrilled for it. So let's go. All right, let's watch the rest of this.
In high school, as being a wide receiver, does he have hands, the good receiving skills that you've seen?
Yeah, he can catch it. Yeah.
What have you seen out of Ricky Pearsall the last 3 games when he hasn't had a catch and hasn't had many targets?
I mean, I think Ricky got a little banged up and in Green Bay, battled through that a lot, still was able to play a lot through it and helped us out a punt return. And I don't judge much from that Buffalo game. I mean, I think we had 6 completions that were screens, and I think 4 other guys had like a 4-yard catch, except for Juwan on a skinny. So like, there's nothing really with Ricky there. We had a chance to hit him downfield one time and he slipped. But that was nothing against him for that game.
I do agree that game against the Buffalo Bills was not a game that you should pass. It's not a game that you should be throwing it deep in and stuff like that, especially no offense to Brock Purdy. I love Brock Purdy. I love me some Brock Purdy, but he doesn't have that velocity to break through the wind and all that. And, he's not like Josh Allen in that way where he could throw it deep. It's just that was wise. From what I saw from Kyle Shanahan, I did like the game plan of running the ball more so than actually just trying to throw it all the time. And it's not a good – and I do agree it's not a good indictment on anyone in the passing game, wide receivers, tight ends, or the quarterback like Brock Purdy himself. That sounds like the right plan to me. And it did seem like at first that CMC was looking great, but I don't want to jump into that. I'm starting to go a little too far to the right there. But yeah, I do think that was the right game plan to not put it into the passing game. And yeah, I liked what I saw based on that. It just didn't work out, obviously, especially when CMC went down. So let's go ahead and see what I got Papa J in the house. What up, Papa J? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Oh, we're showing some love. That's what I like to see. Hey, that's what I like to see. Oh, eating a fat Mexican burrito, so I'm feeling great. I feel like a burrito is a Mexican dish, just in general. I feel like that was redundant, but I digress. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back into this. Let's jump back into this live.
You said it on Monday. You hadn't yet had a chance to kind of talk to Christian after getting the news. How is he kind of doing this? Clearly been a taxing year on his body and more than likely mentally. How is Christian McCaffrey knowing that he's out for the rest of the season?
I think he's doing all right. I mean, I think he was extremely disappointed. I mean, right when it happened for a couple of days, just talking to him yesterday, I think he's accepting it. It's just not his year, obviously, the way it started out, how hard he worked to get back, and then having that random injury that he had in Buffalo. So I know he's disappointed about the year, but I know he's excited and hungry as hell to get back to work and get ready for next year.
Is there a certainty that Bosa will be able to play again this season?
I mean, I'm not God, but I think he's got a chance to play this week. So I would think that would lead to getting a better chance each week, but I don't know the answer.
So there's probably a possibility based on that. I'd be like, I'm not God, so I don't really know. It sounds to me that if he does play, it's going to be through injuries. And if he doesn't play this week, then he's just going to constantly get better. So it sounds like it's an injury that he's going to have to play throughout the entire year if we continue to go to the playoffs, et cetera. This sounds like it's going to be a lingering injury just based on what he's saying there, which we really need him. If we want to beat the Bears, we want to beat the Dolphins, we want to beat the Rams and Cardinals, we're going to need a pass rush. We're going to need Bosa, even if he's 50%, because 50% Bosa, we could be all honest here. We could be real. 50% Bosa is better than any other pass rusher we got. So we need him out there, even if you just have to use him sparingly, like on third downs only, et cetera, whatever, get him out there. We need him out there doing something. So hopefully the break that he's had through these 2 games or whatever, that he can just, pull through it and it's a little bit better. What really sucks is that if he injured both of his hips and his obliques like that, it's just the chance of re-aggravating his injury and the injury becoming worse and probably lingering on through the next years makes it a lot higher, as we know. So good to see that Nick Bosa is going to come back. It sounds to me he's just going to come back and play through the injury. He just really couldn't do it this time around. I'm be eating before Rondo's goes live. I'm making pasta. I'm homemade meatballs and garlic bread. Hey, that's not bad. Yeah, it was redundant. Italian, that's what I'm having tonight. Nice, guys. Everyone's having spaghetti. I had spaghetti yesterday. I had spaghetti last night. That's spaghetti. Spaghetti's dope. I like spaghetti. It's one of my top 10 favorite dishes of all time. So I wouldn't say top 5. I wouldn't put it in my top 5. But spaghetti has like a nostalgia to it. I wouldn't say it's the greatest dish, but there's like a nostalgia to it. It's kind of like fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn. There's just like a nostalgia to it. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back into the rest of this press conference.
Answer that.
What do you know about your new running back, Israel SHANAHAN? What do you like about him?
I mean, I liked him coming out of college. You know, I haven't studied him a ton in the NFL, but he was a guy that I had good notes on from college and liked. And, you know, and I know our scouting department thought his best guy out there being available and stuff. So in our situation, especially, glad to get him here.
Was he one of the running backs that Bobby was on to in the 23 draft doing the phone calls and things like that?
If Bobby's on every single one. So, like, yes, definitely.
Yes, just automatic.
What's that?
What do you see from Caleb Williams?
I mean, as talented as there is, I mean, just the stuff that you saw in college, you can see in the NFL. I mean, as good of a thrower as there is, born to play the position, got the athletic ability to do whatever. He's got the speed to do whatever. You know, he's gotten a lot of playing time. He's getting better as this year goes. I think he's getting a lot more consistent. I think he's been playing his best ball probably here the last few weeks. He's put him in a chance to win here in these last few games.
I know you coach that you're preparing for or during season, so there's only so much they can alter.
Yeah, a little of both. I mean, there's only so much new coaches can do. I mean, they're not going to change a ton up, but I mean, they can have a different approach. You can have a different vibe from the team and stuff like that. And
true,
so you got to be prepared for everything. But you know, there's only so much.
Could McCaffrey potentially be back in a playoff scenario?
Yeah, I believe so. You know, I think usually though they say that injury is like a 6-week injury, so you know that would give a chance.
6 weeks. So what is it? Week 14. That's like he won't be back until like that's pretty much. You're telling me he won't be back till like NFC Championship or maybe even the Super Bowl. I don't know if I would even play him at that point. If we somehow, some bloody fucking miracle, we make it to the NFC Championship and Super Bowl, because it would be a miracle. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would be defying so many odds, dude. It's be nuts. But if that happens, I don't think you play Christian McCaffrey at that point because you know he's going to be rusty. But I could see it if that ended up happening. Kyle Shanahan would force his ass out there and make it like Jordan Mason could be the reason we make the playoffs, could be the reason we get to the NFC Championship. But the moment CMC is able to come back, Kyle Shanahan's going to bring him back and he's going to get all the reps. And it's just like, dude, he's done. He's done. No matter what, I just think CMC should just be done. No matter what. You don't want to injure him any further. You don't want to risk making next year impossible for him to come back if he re-aggravates his injury, especially with that bilateral Achilles tendonitis. He needs the year off. Christian McCaffrey just needs to understand, like Kyle said, it's not his year. It is over. I don't want to hear and I don't want to see Christian McCaffrey again this year. I'm sorry. He looked great. He was looking fantastic in the Buffalo Bills game. Like he was starting to look like his old self just a little bit there, but he tore his PCL again. He's going to have another 6 weeks off and he's going to be rusty again. And you can't have that on the NFC Championship game and you can't have that at the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. He's done. He's done. Sit your ass down and rest. Exactly, Papa J. Spitting hot fire, dude. Exactly. You're done, dude. You're done. You're done.
The trade deadline, it's a risk to make a move at the deadline. It's a risk to kind of what's going on. If you look back at it with any regrets, I mean, you can't predict what was going to happen, but regrets not being more aggressive.
No, because I don't think. I mean, how many aggressive moves do you want to make? You know, and you make one aggressive move, and but I don't think that. And what's happened, just one player would have changed anything in these last 3 weeks. Then when you do that, it just hurts you more going forward. So no regrets at all on that. Not to mention there wasn't really something sitting there that was enticing you if it was considered a big move. So I didn't really see that option, and you don't ever want to do that just to do it either.
I do agree that, like, honestly, like in retrospect, it's good that they weren't aggressive, because if they were aggressive, I don't think it would have changed anything. Like what was out there, a wide receiver, I think one pass rusher. I don't think it would have been enough to alter what's happening to this team. There's so many injuries, so many bad things happening to this team. I'm not saying give up, but like it's a blessing that we didn't do what I wanted them to be aggressive. I wanted them to go out there and get another player. I want them to get out there another game changer. But looking back at it in retrospect, man, it's kind of a blessing because one player would not have changed anything. One player would not have made us have 7 wins, whatever it may be, right? I do agree that you should not regret it. I think it's obviously a blessing to not have approached the trade deadline with aggression because, again, you would have lost draft capital, and again, it would have been for nothing because, like I said 4 times already, it would not have altered this team. It would not have changed a single fucking thing. I'm not even lying. So it's good that he didn't do it. And also, of course, Kyle, let's say that one player would have made a difference, right? There's no way in any world Kyle Shanahan in a press conference is going to say, yeah, I regret it. I wish I was more aggressive. He's not going to do that. Like 99% of coaches aren't going to do that. I don't think a coach should say that, because then people start questioning him. And I'm not saying I like hard-headedness and stuff like that, but there are moments as a head coach where you need to be like, no, I don't regret doing that. And I think that's the right answer, regardless if he felt like he should have or not. I think in that moment, especially with reporters and how they will leech onto that. They will attach that. If Kyle Shanahan right here said, I regret not doing it, every single reporter, content creator will be leeching onto that. Oh, he regrets doing that. Oh, he's second guessing himself. Is he actually that good of a head? It's going to go down a huge rabbit hole, cause a lot more problems. So I'm glad that you responded that way. But realistically, yeah, you shouldn't regret it because there's nothing out there that would have changed anything that happened. Like Nick Bosa's out, Trent Williams was out. You lost your number 1 wide receiver in Ayuk, even though he wasn't the same. I digress. You got Fred Warner with a fractured ankle. I mean, there's just way too much for one player to make any kind of a difference. So I do like that response. Fire Sorensen and get a legitimate DC. I'm not trying to be against you, but I don't know if I'm on board with that unless you can guarantee me you get someone like Bill Belichick, someone that's proven themselves as a good defensive coordinator, or because I just feel Kyle Shanahan's going to stick with this defensive coordinator, and this defensive coordinator has shown some flash. There's been moments where you're like, okay, that was a good play call. Okay, that worked out. Okay, it wasn't the defense's fault that we lost this game, special teams, or in fact, it was even close because of special teams, or the offense was struggling so bad that the defense had to deal with short field. You know what I mean? There's flashes. I'm not completely off the train of Nick Sorensen. I get if you are because it's just so many mistakes. But in a season where you don't have your number 1 pass rusher, you have a fractured ankle, Fred Warner, who's your leader. You don't have Greenlaw. You have a rookie Green playing out there. Ward isn't out there because obviously makes sense. I don't know if Sorensen had a fair shot to prove himself is what I'm trying to say, right? The only way I'd be okay with a new defensive coordinator is if there's another one in place that could take his spot that's proven himself to be a good defensive coordinator, if that makes sense. Val in the house. You like the live? Thank you. Thank you. You just made my heart go from here to here. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. Let's finish this. Press conference.
What's that about the Bears defense when you watch
them? I think they're a real good defense. I think how good they are in the red zone. I think they're ranked number 2 in the red zone. I think they're top 5 at getting turnovers. I think they're top 5 at third down. It's when they're top 5 and getting turnovers, and their offense, I think, is number 1 at not giving up turnovers. It's usually a really good formula for winning. You look at their team as a whole. They started out 4-2. They went on a bye. They lost the next game on a Hail Mary versus a good team in Washington, which, so you'd like to say they should have been 5-2. And the next 5 games after that, they got blown out 2 after that. But these last 3 games, they played as good as any team in the league, playing Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit, losing by a total of 7 points. So I see a defense that is capable of being a playoff defense. They played like it all year. They've just come up short here in these last 5 games.
Last week, Christian said that he felt the vibes outside the building were a lot lower.
Excellent defense. excellent. The Bears have an excellent defense. He's not wrong about the Bears. They could have easily had a lot more games, but they are on a losing streak. They lost their head coach. I mean, like, I don't know if that's enough of an excuse. Like, their defense is great. That's about it. Their rookie is struggling. Really, their offense is struggling. I just feel like they're in a worse boat, even with our injuries and stuff. But I just feel like we have a lot more weapons and a lot more capability than the Bears do at this point. I know they were on 4-2, and there's that Hail Mary ruined them and stuff, but they've been blown out. They have not looked like a good team since that 4-2, possible 5-2 start. You know what I mean? They've been actually terrible. So, I mean, the only thing that's going good for the Bears is that defense. That defense is elite. It is an excellent defense. And if Brock Purdy tears up this defense, that is a huge bonus to him. If Brock Purdy is able to score in the red zone on this defense, that is another props. I mean, this defense is great, guys. It is super good. They have a great defense. They even had a great defense last year. They really did. So we got Shanahan is too stubborn to admit that Sorensen sucks and fire Sorensen. Even you in as DC will be better than Sorensen. No, thanks, man. I actually think I'm not trying to, boost my ego here, but I know a little bit about a 3-4 defense, 4-3, dime, just throw it out there. Oh, yeah, a 49ers fan. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Welcome to stream. Welcome to stream. Welcome to the fam. Welcome to the fam. Be sure to like the live. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and finish. Let's go ahead and continue this press.
Vibes inside the building. After Sunday, do you feel the same way about that? Do you have confidence that you guys have the vibes to make a run?
I mean, I don't know. We don't go off vibes as much. I mean, we were pretty disappointed after that game and stuff. That takes time. But you don't need much more than 48 hours. We're in here on Wednesday. Guys are ready to go to work. I mean, I think when you compare outside the building, inside the building, I mean, we're a football team that goes to work and tries to get better.
I don't mean to keep pausing. I know you guys are like, fuck, stop pausing. I want to see this or whatever. I get that. But I'm not for making fun of Kyle Shanahan because I do think I think with a bad year, a lot of people are just going to pile on because of emotions. I feel like emotions are high right now. So a lot of people just want to jump on him, want to listen to people who are jumping on him. I get that. So I don't mean to add to it. I really don't. I just want to tell you where I lay. I like Kyle Shanahan. I still think he's a great coach. I think a lot of head coaches would get fired to put him in there. I think there would be teams out there that would trade for him. I like him. I do. But I swear to God, sometimes, man, in his press conferences, he does this, and then it's just like, oh my God, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Stay right here. If you spend your day outside the building just reading and stuff, I'm sure your vibes won't be the same. But our vibes here are all about work, and that's what we enjoy doing.
When you're looking at their run defense and all the rushing
100, Michael,
touchdowns that they've
100,
given up this
100%.
season, why is that happening? Is it just breakdowns at every level of the run defense when you get down in there?
Yes, I think there's not, when you ask why, I mean, we can go into a ton of things, but the bottom line is we haven't played good enough run defense. You look at all of our losses. I mean, these last 2 weeks have been as bad as it gets, especially, when you give up the run game like we have in these last 2 weeks in the first half. The game's almost over before it starts, going into that second half. Still thought we had every chance to make it a game in the second half, but that's when we had our 3 turnovers in both games, which leads to blowouts. If you look at all of our losses this year, I think the least amount of yards we've given up in a loss is close to 150. So we haven't been stopping the run well enough that, starts with people being out of gaps. That can go to missed tackles. That can go to not getting off the field on third down, so they get a few more runs called. Can go to not getting enough turnovers, and it can go to missed assignments. So it's all the above.
We never asked you about Brock and the fumble that happened. Is there anything that he could have done, or was it just a slip out of his hand? I mean,
it just slipped out of his hand. I mean, I wish it didn't. It's not like you put different grip really on your hands and stuff. So you got to change your motion up a little bit, but that's also why you try to avoid throwing a lot in those situations. And that's what you try to do, but sometimes you can't avoid it, especially on third downs and things like that. And that's the challenges of playing in those conditions.
I want to say, I called it, by the way. I called it. You can go back and watch the tape in the shows before the game started. Me and Poggy said it. He's probably going to fumble once. And it happened. And it happened.
Judge his performance in Buffalo.
I mean, it is. I mean, you take that all with a grain of salt, but we watch each clip and we talk through it. And I mean, that was, it's always bad play when you lose the ball. But
true.
As far as going through a progression where the ball should have gone, that was his number 2 in the read. He looked at George. They moved zone coverage. He took a hitch and was going to rip it to the left side and was going to have an explosive to JJ, and the ball slipped out. So, I don't want to say that was one of his better plays, but he was doing everything right on that play. And I think we all saw why the ball slipped. There's plays in this game that we can coach him up to be better on. And there's some plays where it's like that, where it's an unfortunate situation.
We'll go today.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Jawan,
Last one, guys.
he's had, twice after he's had great games, 10+ catches against the Rams and Seahawks. He hasn't talked to the media, which we would like to talk to him, but so it's about losing, even though he had a great game. I don't know. Is that reflective of anything about him or his competitiveness?
I don't know. I didn't even know he wasn't talking to you guys. So that's the first I've heard. Can I do that too? Maybe Jawan's just smarter than I am. Yeah, I didn't know. Jawan's an emotional dude, and that's what makes him so great. I mean, you guys see how he plays. And Jawan's one of my favorite people in the world. I mean, he's unique and just the energy he brings to everything. And I haven't asked him because I didn't know that, but I'm sure he hasn't been in the mood after games. He takes those hard.
Okay. Can I ask a follow-up?
I guess.
And to be fair, Juwan is not like he's pretty much like our underrated number 1 wide receiver, practically a captain in my eyes, but he's not actually, I don't think he's actually a captain, right? I'm pretty sure he's not a captain. So not only is he not a captain, I don't think he's like the guy to be interviewing. Like he needs to approach that, Some people gave Debo shit for not doing an interview and stuff like that because he's a captain. I guess you can make that argument, but I mean, I feel like players such as Brock should do it, Fred, Bosa, Trent. I feel like those guys should have like, okay, you need to approach because you're the leaders of the team, I feel like. And I don't think Debo, even though Debo tries to claim he is, but like Debo and Juan, I don't think are like the top tier, like you must do an interview kind of type thing. So if Juwan doesn't want to do an interview, I wouldn't put it against him. Like he's not, that's not on his plate to do. Right. I personally, as a fan, don't expect him to do an interview unless he wants to. Right.
Not to get your butt or anything, but you're not a bad loser. I mean, you may be a bad loser, but in public, in press conferences, you answer the questions. Not every coach does that. Like after Green Bay, you're like getting more questions, and most coaches are like, "How did that?" Is that someone? Is that your dad, or is that just you as far as how you're supposed to handle things?
I don't know. That's just how I am. I answer questions. I'm not a good, I don't make stuff up. So I try to answer your guys' questions, especially if it's not a stupid question. Sometimes I struggle with ones that I don't understand.
You don't make stuff up.
Forgive me if I think they're stupid. They might not be. I just don't understand them all, but that's how I do press conferences. I answer the questions. So I always try to do that without hurting our own team. And that's
smart.
Really about as simple as I keep it. But no, I don't take losing well. But
I agree with that part.
I'm not showing you guys how I deal with my life in these 8 great minutes. All right, guys. Thanks.
That was a funny last second response there. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, so that was Kyle Shanahan's presser before the Bears game, not the last one. We'll obviously when we go live on Friday, we'll watch the Friday or Saturday. We'll watch the final press conference before the Bears game and see how his mood is then. But I kind of like that vibe. That was actually kind of funny. It sounds to me that Kyle Shanahan's kind of accepting the situation. He doesn't look as depressed. He doesn't look as sad. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I do like his responses to some of these questions, even Grant Cohn's questions. He answered it really well with no stress. Like I actually kind of thought Kyle Shanahan for the most part was zen in this interview.